first ever YouTube video, I created a holiday party inspired look with an emerald lid and a nude lip. I think this would look beautiful on anyone from fair skin to dark skin and blue and brown eyes. So if you like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another look. Alright, I'm starting off with clean and moisturized skin, and the first step is I'm going to prime my face. So I'm using the Maybelline Master Prime in Blur and Redness Control. This primer is tinted green, so it helps combat redness, and I'm applying it to my T-zone and my cheeks where I have a tendency to get the most red. Next, I'm taking the Revlon Colorstay foundation in the shade Buff. This is the formula for combination to oily skin, and I'm applying this all over using a damp Real Techniques beauty sponge. As you can see, I use the flat side of the sponge in a patting motion to blend and work the foundation into my skin. The more you blend, the more natural your foundation will look. And never forget to blend it down onto your neck. I also like to apply a small amount of foundation to my eyelids using the beauty sponge. This helps cover any redness, capillaries, or discoloration and acts as a primer for the eyeshadow we'll be using later. Next, I'm doing some light cream contouring with the True Match Super Blendable Crayon Concealer in Medium Deep. I'm drawing this under my cheekbones, along my jawline, around my forehead, and lightly on the sides of my nose because this darker color will help these areas recede, making the face look more slim. Using the same Real Techniques beauty sponge I used to apply my foundation, I'm going to blend out my cream contour. On the chin, I'm using a patting motion downward toward my neck to give the illusion of a more defined jawline and a smaller chin. On my forehead, I'm using the same patting motion but up toward my hairline to give the illusion of a smaller forehead. Blending the cheek contour is a bit more tricky. Remember that you always want to blend up and back, never down. Blending down gives a sloppy appearance. As you can see here, I'm using that same patting motion with the beauty sponge in combination with a rub motion back toward my temple to blend the contour into my skin. The next step is to conceal and highlight. I'm using the Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer by Urban Decay in the shade Fair Neutral. Unlike the contour, which I applied primarily around the perimeter of my face, I apply concealer in the center of my face, including a triangle beneath each eye, between my eyebrows and in the center of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, on my cupid's bow, and in the center of my chin. Once again, I'm using that same Real Techniques beauty sponge in a patting motion to blend the concealer into my skin. Since this is a party look and we want our makeup to last all night, the next step is to set all of the cream products that we just applied with a loose powder. I'm using the Covergirl Professional Loose Powder in the shade Translucent Fair. Once again, I'm using a damp Real Techniques beauty sponge to apply powder on top of my under eye concealer, beneath my cheek contour to make it look more sharp, on my nose and forehead, and on my eyelids. A quick trick is that applying a small amount of translucent powder on the eyelids helps ease the blending process of eyeshadow later on. Using a fluffy brush, I then dust off any excess powder that's on my face and blend the remaining powder into my skin for a more natural look. To add a bit of warmth back into the skin, I'm using the bronze shade from the Lorac Pro To Go palette on a Hannah K brush to bronze the skin. For blush, I'm applying a mixture of the coral and pink shades from the same Lorac palette with the Sigma F40 large angled contour brush. I apply the blush to the apples of my cheeks and sweep it back toward my temples. To blend it out, I use the same fluffy brush that I used to blend the translucent powder in a pat and swirling motion. For highlighter, I'm using Becca's Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Champagne Pop on the tops of my cheekbones, down the bridge of my nose, and on the tip of my nose to add a little bit of glow to the skin. Alright, time to fill in the brows. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Soft Brown with the Anastasia No. 12 Synthetic Brow Brush. The shade is a little on the red side for me, so I finish it off with the L'Oreal Brow Artist Sculptor Eyebrow Pencil in brunette. This combination gives me the perfect shade and lasts all day. To start off the eyeshadow, I'm using shade 13 from Morphe Cosmetics as my transition shade on a Sigma E25 brush. I'm applying this shadow in my crease from inner corner to outer corner. As you can see, I use windshield wiper motions to blend this shadow into my crease. Next, I'm using that same Sigma E25 brush with the Morphe shade 62. This shade is a neutral brown and is slightly darker than the transition shade. Using windshield wiper motions, I'm blending from inner corner to outer corner, keeping it low in the crease. To ensure that there are no harsh edges, I take a big fluffy Hannah K eyeshadow brush and blend along the top. Now for the fun part. I'm applying L'Oreal Infallible Eyeshadow in shade 335 Golden Emerald to my lid. I'm using my finger to apply this because I find that it works better than any other brush. To apply the shadow, I pull my eyelid slightly taut and pat and rub the eyeshadow all over my lid, keeping it low and not too high into the crease. We don't want any harsh edges, so I take that Sigma E25 brush again with shade 62 from Morphe, and I blend all along the crease, focusing especially in the outer corner to add dimension. On the lower lash line, I'm using a pencil brush to sweep Morphe eyeshadows 13 and 62 from outer corner to inner corner, really blending it out. I also like to connect the outer edge to the upper lid eyeshadow. When I was looking at this eyeshadow in the mirror, I didn't think the green was intense enough, so I'm using this trick to make the green look more metallic. I'm taking a few drops of eye drops, dipping my finger in them, rubbing it into the eyeshadow, and then I'm going to rub that onto my eyelid on top of the green that I already had placed. This trick of adding eye drops to a shimmering eyeshadow helps bring out the color of the eyeshadow, makes it look more metallic, and adds an extra dimension to the eye look. Once again, I'm taking more of that Morphe 62 shadow on my Sigma E25 and blending out the edges. To make the lower lash line more smoky, I added some of that green L'Oreal eyeshadow and blended it out using a Hannah K pencil brush. At first, this much green on the lower lash line may be a little bit daunting, but I promise if you keep blending, it'll work itself out. For eyeliner, I used the Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner in black and created a wing. Unfortunately, the footage of my eyeliner didn't really turn out, so that's something you can look forward to in a future video. For the nude lips, I lined my lips and filled them in with the NYX Lip Liner in the shade Natural, followed by ColourPop Liquid Lipstick in Midi. If you have fair skin or like really nude lips, this is a great liquid lipstick and it's really affordable. It's only $6 a tube. Next, I curled my eyelashes and applied a light base coat of Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara, followed by a second layer of L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara. For the lower lash line, I used Rimmel Lash Accelerator Mascara. I really like this mascara for my lower lashes because it has a small wand that allows you to coat each hair. And that concludes the Emerald Holiday Party look. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for another video.